The RTX 4080 Super is officially the second best 40 series card you can pick up from NVIDIA without looking at the ridiculously powerful and also ridiculously expensive RTX 4090. For many, the RTX 4080 Super means a 4K capable card with the ability to max out game settings and even leave DLSS off in some cases. Sure, DLSS means you can push frames higher, but the 4080 Super is pretty capable of playing any modern game at least 60 FPS at 4K without the help of AI upscaling and frame generation. The RTX 4080 Super marks the more affordable best of the best card. When I say best of the best, this card is still hell of expensive, but its $1,000 price tag might be more accessible to more gamers out there. It is also launching at a cheaper price tag compared to the standard RTX 4080, which is great news too. This premium tier GPU does pack the specs to back up its asking price though. It includes 10,240 CUDA cores, 320 4th generation Tensor cores, and 83rd generation Ada RT cores. It also includes 16GB of GDDR6 RAM running at 23 GB per second, and it includes 64 MB of L2 cache. This is compared to the high-end, almost super weapon-like RTX 4090, which includes 16,384 CUDA cores, 512 Tensor cores, and 128 RT cores. The 4090 also has 24 GB of RAM. NVIDIA has managed to add some performance to the RTX 4080 Super while still keeping the same 320W TGP in check. So there's definitely been some advancements in power saving going on here. It kind of makes me excited to see what the company has in store for the 5000 series Blackwell range later this year. Before we get into the performance of this review, let's go over the card I'm covering. As usual, the awesome people at Gigabyte sent me over the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Gaming OC for me to test out. Like other OC cards, this unit comes slightly overclocked out of the box at 2595 MHz compared to the 2550 MHz on the reference card. This Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Gaming OC is a chunky GPU. In comparison to my current RTX 4070 Ti, it is not only wider but also thicker, so you're getting more size and girth here, which will make most users with large PC cases very happy. That is not a sexual joke. The card comes in at 324mm by 150mm and is 75mm thick. I immediately noticed the thicker design and the slight changes to the power port section. The port where the 16-pin connector goes is indented inwards on the card ever so slightly. There are also heatsinks all over this GPU. While there are a few slight changes in the design here and there, the card's tech still remains pretty much the same. The Waterforce cooling system includes 3 110mm blade fans with alternate spinning for enhanced cooling. I've always been a fan of Gigabyte Waterforce cooling and it has never let me down in the past. The Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Gaming OC also comes with the usual RGB fusion that let me tweak the fan light and the Gigabyte logo. It also syncs up with the rest of my system. The card's design is familiar, but I do enjoy it. It isn't full of RGB and the steel plating looks clean in my case. When it comes to the ports, the card includes 3 DisplayPort 1.4 A ports and 1 HDMI 2.1 port. It does feature the 16-pin connector, which is included in the box. Given the size of this card, it does include a motherboard anti-sag mount, which is also included in the box. It fits perfectly onto my current RTX 4070 Ti mount, but if you need to install it yourself, you'll need to remove 2 motherboard screws, replace it with the included mount screw, and install the metal bracket onto your motherboard. The second bracket then gets attached to the GPU itself and gets screwed onto the motherboard bracket. This will help prevent the card from sagging when installed. Going into this review, I wanted to push the whole 4K agenda on this card. NVIDIA markets the RTX 4080 Super as a 4K monster, so all the tests are across 4K games. I also added some new games into the mix, including Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora and Dying Light 2. Here are some of the results I got. You can see from the benchmarks that this Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Gaming OC doesn't have a problem running 4K games at least at 60 frames per second. Sure, there are some games that are slightly more demanding. Maxing out Alan Wake 2, for example, while turning off DLSS didn't bode well for the GPU. I also saw the frame rate struggle a bit when DLSS was disabled on Dying Light 2 and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Thankfully, a few tweaks here and there in the settings and these performance hiccups were ironed out. When measuring the metrics, the GPU maxed out at 315 watts. The max temperature reached 64 degrees Celsius, although I did have an odd spike of 68 degrees every now and then here too. The max fan RPM then hit 1770. The GPU max clock hit 2790 MHz with a memory clock of 11501 MHz. The temperatures show that you can definitely overclock this card even more if you want, but the 2790 MHz is more than enough out of the box. Overall, the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Gaming OC is a powerhouse and did excel in everything I threw at it. DLSS is still needed across a few games, and even more so when you're looking at playing games at over 100 FPS. However, it was nice to use a card where I could worry less about what I had to turn down and more about what I could increase. This particular card is now available starting at 29,999 Rand. The asking price is a bit high, but you are getting a true 4K monster here. And again, this is the second best 40 series card you can get your hands on. So those looking at performance and raw power will definitely find value in this price tag. So those are my thoughts on the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Gaming OC GPU. Are you looking to pick this card up? Let me know in the comments down below. As usual, thanks for watching, and please do consider liking and subscribing for more future content like this. Also visit glitch.online for more gaming tech news and reviews. Until next time, farewell.